previous meeting minutes have been distributed. Any comment? Approve as distributed.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Treasurer's report.
No.
Well, we're gonna have to work on next year's budget. And it only is just an increase for staff.
I think Mike gave us a draft of it a couple meetings ago.
I read, the only thing I saw was this.
You sent it out today.
It's a flat budget.
But he's not on what you need to go.
So it was a flat budget with the staff increase.
Mhm.
We're gonna be asking our staff to do a lot more with the master plan stuff, so I'm just curious if that increase would be enough. We check that out, see what the average. Is there an average increase for staff just because of cost of living?
So we've added staff. And so I'm sure we budgeted for that. So,
Right, and I'm asking, confirm the budget, I'm sure that we're in line with every other department, we get as much. There's a certain increase in the budget, but only for staff. Chance to check me for, because if we're under, the chance to,
That would be in the town budget in the spring town meeting.
just look, because I think we should look at the responsibilities, because they're changing all the time, and we're adding more responsibilities.
So through the chair, just a quick question. I know there's been a lot of changes in the last couple of years, and you've made it really clear that some of the changes are not great ones. Do we get to evaluate and recommend pay increases to folks that staff planning board because they staff multiple boards? I think we stopped with.
That's really the question.
Oh, Paul Carey is to know us right there.
Yeah, that's really the crux
I'll
of the
pick up
question.
Paul Carey's role here.
Are we fairly compensating what we're asking to do? Sometimes I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, yes, that was the reason we fairly compensate.
so
what- with
that sort of thing would need to be reflected in job description.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so it's really a review of the job description to start with, to make sure the job description still covers the things that we're asking the person to
But
do.
you're in line. That's just to see if it's in line with the other increases, the other budgets, other staff.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Are you on the personnel board?
No, but.
There's a board here
Yeah. So in any case, we recently did a compensation study within the last couple of years,
Who is we?
the town.
Oh,
So, again, I think the crux is you need to evaluate what we're going to ask people to do.
Perfect.
Be sure that the job description fits that. And if not, then you can seek
Good.
to change it.
Good. And then let us know and we can act accordingly with our budget.
Okay.
Clear?
And through the chair, is it possible to get the job description so we can?
You can provide us all with the.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I'm assuming that some part of your salary and Lauren's salary is allocated to the planning board? Just on.
Not mine.
So the other question, if we're gonna review the job descriptions, what would be really helpful would be also if you two were to review the job descriptions, because I have no idea what you're doing on Thursday afternoons, whereas you all do.
Do you know what our board expert is on hiring and job descriptions?
Not even close.
How many resumes you've seen, you know?
A lot.
Okay, plans report.
Was sent out, I believe yesterday. I don't have anything in addition to what was sent out. Rather, I'll just open it up for questions. And I'll remind folks, I believe we're posting my reports on the website as well for the meeting. So have we been doing that? If not, we'll make sure that the public has access to that. I always keep obviously copies of it if any of the public wants to review them. But we'll make sure that those get up on the website in case we want to see them, because I don't go through them in detail at the meetings. But if you have any questions about anything that I presented, if you have me to comment.
And just a comment real quick, when we talked about it before you got here, is you had mentioned the solar array issue.
Hmm.
And it's picked up a lot of steam. It was posted on the
I heard,
the
yeah.
Facebook. And yeah, there's a lot of
Misinformation.
misinformation. So,
Would you like any clarification with?
oh, no,
Okay.
no, we resolved that before we walked in.
Okay.
But no, I just, because apparently forbade people from coming to meetings.
That didn't exist.
I'll state on the record, I would never do that, and I encourage all citizens and residents to attend all public.
But if there's a by right plan that there's no meeting, then they can't come to the meeting.
That is
because-
likely the confusion. By right, meaning only a building permit is required.
Mhm.
When only a building permit is required, only the building commissioner, well, and other staff.
Yeah.
Review it to
Review,
approve,
yes.
but that is administratively, not through any open.
And you know
public
what,
meeting.
maybe I'll go on and I'll add sort of a little factual for those that are willing to actually read facts, that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If there was a meeting that happened that voted something through that people were not notified of, that would be a big problem.
That would be a violation of,
Yes.
of meeting law, which I will point that out.
So actually, one of my takeaways from reading some of this stuff was that a building permit can be appealed, but you're not in any position to be notified of a building determination.
That's correct.
So the only way you can appeal it is you happen to have somehow heard of it.
Correct.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't have a solution for that particular issue. I agree that that's probably a problem. You obviously can't appeal something that you don't know about.
Right.
And that is a problem, I suppose.
And so I guess the one solution might be if there were on the website somewhere, a list of pending building permits and it would be up to people to look and see, are my neighbors gonna
Yeah.
tear down their house and build a McMansion next to it?
You do have the option to be constantly looking at that information.
Right.
Why would you? Otherwise, right? Unless you're looking
Mhm.
for an issue. And so nobody's expecting things like
No.
this to arrive. So it's unfortunate.
All right, then I would urge you to continue to tell people that they're not invited to a meeting, which there's no meeting.
Yes.
Approval not required, Form A, we have Form A. Is that one of them? Amendment?
This go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's one we might.
Oh, that's what the towns, those are 2 copies.
I believe Jeff Spanik is on here in Holland to if there's any questions.
That's right, Mr. Chairman.
This is the land that has the property and up to the access in Mendon.
Did you look at this a long time ago?
think there's
Yeah,
there's
this is first
other-
to come into it. So what we asked them to do is since it's in 2 different jurisdictions, we get 2 different planning board approvals, theirs and ours. And that's what they've done. And for us, we have all of them. We got the website, we got this stack, we got that. We read it. You read it.
Right here.
I'd be
Zoning,
happy to answer any questions anybody has about this project.
everything you need.
It's going to be
Lawrence is gonna grab
permanent
the-
conservation
grab the
land.
conservation.
It's new easement, so
This is our property we're talking about?
I think they're subdividing the house.
it's anything that should be line here, it's anything to the left side of the line, the upper left side of the line.
But all this stuff is there already.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're.
this is, that has more detail.
Yeah, I'm
This is
wondering, this
this
is
is-
confusing.
Yeah, I think it's just
That's there.
Yeah.
this little thing.
So it's the, yeah.
Yeah.
That is this.
But you're doing all this to build one house.
No, they're just adding on, they've already done the house, this land, Mendon would
Okay.
approve it, only we can approve
Okay.
the land and the,
Oh, okay, okay.
thank you very much.
So does
That's that much better.
Mhm.
do both lots have frontage?
There's only one house.
There's only one lot. So it's, the lot is half an up.
Mendon, Mendon, I think it's all in Mendon, right? The only thing we're doing is the Well, actually, it's probably this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So what is?
Is
I
another-
don't think that's the wetlands. That's gonna be, it's the tree lines, not the wetlands or.
No, this is the
Tree line tree, but it's shaped like.
But they're not doing anything on the. opposite side.
No, they just, it's just because that,
Just
that
that's
lot
attached to us.
picks up that.
So we don't care.
Biggest reason, that's up in taxable.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
That's one of the reasons why we can't landlock anything.
fine.
Do we need the, do we want anyone to, can we just make a motion?
If there is anybody, is there?
Oh, I thought you said.
John's defending this there, yeah.
Is there anybody on the line on the amended Upton plan?
Yeah, if you need a clarification.
Yes, my name is Jeff Stefanik. I'm the
Pick
land
yourself up,
surveyor
will
for
you?
Gurr and
Oh,
Hellnon.
it's super quiet. Hold on.
So I'm happy to answer any questions.
No, I have no questions. What are the
Okay.
questions?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep,
Okay. It's time for you guys to talk to us.
Do we need a, we need a.
Where's the first?
Oh,
That's, it's,
Which signing it really, but
there's 2 sheets, so everyone make sure you sign twice.
is there a motion to approve?
Move, we approve.
I second.
All in favor, discussion? All in favor?
I,
Right,
If you don't agree, you can sign.
so start signing. Fine.
well, thank you all very much. Mike, I'll be in touch to pick up the Mylars.
Affordable plan.
Oh, hold on, Jeff. I can't really hear you.
Right there.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you guys as well.
Because it's a 2-page plan, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah, we're just having trouble hearing you. It's your, I don't know if it's an issue on your end or our end. I mean, we can, I can hear you speaking, but I can't really make much out.
I can hear him fine, so it might be an issue on your end.
Okay, it's on our end.
Okay, well, I'll plan on picking up the Mylars tomorrow. Is that okay, Mike?
And
I think you might be clarifying that.
you're gonna wanna raise the volume on that.
Oh, thanks.
this is my alarm.
Yes, thank you.
So Mike, I'll pick up the Mylars tomorrow. That'll be okay?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear now. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna leave the meeting.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
While we're waiting for that, are there any other approval not required?
I believe that was the only one, right?
We have an approval document for the 15 West Main Street Common Driveway, wasn't it?
Yes.
You have the signature page on the original sentence. And it's in this, here's that.
So 15 West Main Street, you voted to approve the special permit for the common driveway at your last meeting. The draft of that decision was in your meeting materials. It's also, you should have a copy of it in your packet, but Tom has the copy with the signature page.
The main plans were.
I actually wasn't here at the meeting to vote. Can I sign or do I not?
Don't sign them, yeah. It's a clean way to approach it.
Yeah.
Here you go, Lars. And here's your pen, we need a new one. Maybe take a better pen.
I think she wants to sign her.
Brandon Mobley.
Yes. This is.
Just waiting for mine back.
Then I need one.
Yeah.
So actually, I wasn't here last meeting, so I don't know if I can sign.
Just handing them pens.
Okay, something to take action on that.
So I actually need this. You get those?
Get sworn in, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Barnett, Melissa, thanks very much. Welcome. Any questions for us or?
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you.
I'm gonna have to remind you of that. You said you were happy to be. Next, if everybody's okay, we're a master plan update review. Like once a month for us to talk about the master plan. We planned it 5 years ago before COVID hit. So the first, I'd like to divide it into sections that we've already done a lot of work on. The process being, we've done the plan, we've set the goals. Now we have to review what we acted on. For instance, so earlier the transportation, we put in the center lights, we've done the roof for that. Next, we have to ask the police and whoever else, where's next? Where are the most dangerous places that we got? Things were like bike path we put in there. We didn't do much on transportation. It's only a short 10-page thing.
Okay, yes.
The other thing would be housing. We've done so much work on housing that we coordinated, put it together in a suitable package for us to look at, review, and put on a warrant. I mean, a public hearing for us to recommend that to the town.
Sure.
What we've done, that a lot of the goals aren't going to change. Pretty much what we wanted to do with recreation, we're doing, and we want to continue to do. Housing has changed. Affordable housing wasn't really an issue that long ago. We'll probably, other thing, if we can work on transportation, I can help you on these, and the housing, get that for the board in a month. Then we can work on the next two. One of them would probably be, another one they've worked on hard is the natural resources, both the open space and conservation, done a lot of work.
Yeah.
Bought a lot of land, we've done a lot of things. We should just put that into the package. After that, we could look at, we'll probably save zoning for last. That's gonna be a tough one. Because I remember back then we wanted to look at our commercial, industrial, and other things way back when.
But we also wanted to create a town center, in zoning.
Yeah. But, and that's another thing, town facilities, we've done a lot of work on those. We didn't envision a community center, but we did say we wanted to work in library and senior housing, senior center. So we put those into one spot. So we did take care of that. That's really a done. Other things like that, we should every month talk about at least an element or two of them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So,
Chair, just interfere for a second. I think, I don't know exactly what you can do on this committee. Is looking at a long-term. And I think that actually gets into what you're talking about, because it's a lot of conversation about facilities in there. Because I think that, I think it was the CPC, but they, really wanted to be able to spell out what needs to be
Right.
invested in future years. So, we may want to have a chat with the folks that will figure out to get them involved with the master plan. In fact, we may want to involve them in the master plan process.
I mean, all of the committees should be involved in this process, like affordable
That's-
housing.
That's one of the best things that every one of these, that we had in the, it's not by somebody else. We just have to be irritating and tell them to do it. Because we're not the experts on those type of things. So, but they are, and they work hard at it. We should give them some credit in the master plan. And then set the new goals.
Yeah.
Whatever they may be. Does that sound good to you? You guys do all the work.
Yeah, we'll compile the chapters, slowly but surely, and we'll circulate it to to the appropriate departments and stakeholders, and get input on it if, like you were just suggesting.
Yeah, so the thing, I remember like 150 plus pages of long, ridiculous long, but a lot of it just explains things that are still beneath, right? This is the things that we need to do. But all the, a lot of progress. If you look at what we intended to do, we made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
The whole idea, and the master plan could be summed up by fill up the moat and raise the bridge. That's what everybody's, keep it as a village, trying to keep it low, not a lot of industry, not a lot of commercial. That's what the master plan kind of said years ago, keep the town the way it is. And we have,
Well, the
Pretty
state
much.
comes in and says you have no choice. You have to go.
If you want to get, if
You
you
have to put in solar arrays every place. You have to do all this stuff.
But it wasn't in the master plan, it's just forced on us by our friends in our plan. Okay, next is CMRPC zoning diagnostic memo.
Oh, yeah, we have Gabe Trevor from CMRPC on. We've been working with Gabe and CMRPC to do this zoning diagnostic report, which you have before you. There was also, a really long document because it is your zoning bylaw with annotations and comments that CMRPC provided, and I responded to and added to some comments as well. So if you've had a chance to skim through those and you have questions or comments, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'm going to defer to Gabe to kind of wrap us up and take us to the next.
Welcome back, Dave.
Hi, thanks for having me tonight. It's good to see you all again. Yeah, like Mike said, we've been working on the diagnostic over the last year. And in the coming year, we do have funding for through the Community One Stop for Growth application, which I think was approved in October, November. So the town will have a zoning rewrite process funded through, I believe, June 2027. So that'll be a pretty involved process. And yeah, so I'm happy to have this all pretty much wrapped up. And yeah, I think if there's any questions or comments, we can take those. I mean, Mike, do you want me to walk through the memorandum and just talk through what I found in each article, or how do you think is the best way to approach this?
Yeah, so long as the chair's amenable to that, I would like to go through at least.
Use the highlights.
Yeah, the highlights.
Okay.
Now, before you do that, I just want to emphasize the zoning diagnostic, what Gabe was just referring to, the $67,000 that you were just awarded from the state to do the zoning rewrites. The zoning diagnostic that's before you with the comments and the suggestions, that's what's going to be used to do the zoning rewrite, right? Folding those comments into, the intent, isn't to take major policy swings. It's just in case to do it. But we can talk about if there's areas in which you think that maybe a slight change in policy might be required or desirable.
No, we just did this when we went from, it was a few years ago, we went like the 300 now, we redid the zoning, it's called E-zone. What was that?
Well, I'm sorry.
That's mostly like, not pagination, but redoing the sections and all.
Yeah, renumbered everything, did all, now, how much of that change did we look at, review of the annotations? No,
I'm not sure. That was before my time.
it might have been 5, 6 years ago.
Okay.
I think it was before my time too.
Mhm.
We went from a certain numbering to a new numbering.
Mhm.
The 300 gone.
Yes.
So that was just.
I've only ever known it as 300.
They're both in the, by the way, you can review them. The old ones.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Gabe.
Thank you. Yeah, so just going through the memorandum article by article, like Mike said, we kind of tried to steer away from any big policy changes and through this process. I think if the planning board, so something that kind of came up in the process that we might want to address is like something like waterfront zoning. I think that's something that might require more in-depth discussion during the rewrite process. So I think happy to make any edits to the memorandum as the board sees fit, but I also think there's going to be a lot of time through the rewrite process to kind of get more into the details. So Article 1, don't really have a ton of recommendations. I think the purpose section could just be addressed to maybe, it only really addresses protection from fire right now, but I think flooding and it could be expanded to natural disasters more generally. Looking at the district section, just looking at the existing districts, two major things. I think the current way that the general business and the commercial and industrial districts are set up with how they work with dimensional requirements is confusing, where it's based on adjacent residential districts. So I would propose splitting those districts into like general business 1, 2, 3, ABC, and then kind of copy the dimensional requirements that the citations are pulling from the existing residential districts. It's pretty, I haven't seen a town do it based on adjacent residential.
Gabe, I got a question for you, if I may interrupt.
Yes.
I have a problem with our frontage. The way we list frontage in our, I don't know if it's a GB or the commercial, but we don't list it as an understandable or a clear way. How much frontage you need on a general business or
Yeah, let me
commercial
get
lot?
to, I'm pulling up the bylaw.
Tom, you're talking about I'm sorry, the definition of frontage, or
What is the requirement?
what's the?
So. I think
Yeah,
that was
so-
what he was saying is
yeah,
the way
so-
it's based on.
Yeah, so the
Oh,
way it
yeah.
is that in the
Sorry.
dimensional, this is kind of a big concern of mine. I think an overarching theme, especially in the use table and the dimensional table, is it's excessively reliant on notes and citations, where those things should kind of, if possible, be up. You can have a number of them if you want, but so for example, like in the table C, general business, commercial and industrial and UCBD district lots, area square feet and front linear feet, so front is frontage. There's no number cited, it just says note 6, and then you have to scroll down to note 6. In all general business districts and commercial and industrial districts, except as herein provided, no building shall be constructed on a lot having less area or having less frontage on a public or private way than the area and frontage respectively required for the least restricted single residential district adjacent thereto. So
Yeah, we went the opposite way too. If you're gonna put in townhouses, if you're gonna put in a townhouse or a garden apartment in a general business area, we ask you to go to the closest residential zone.
yeah,
And that's where you
Yeah,
put your,
and what he's suggesting is that's confusing.
it is
and-
really confusing.
And so we should just break general business into general business 1, general business 2, general business 3,
Well, why do that?
based on the zone that it's adjacent to.
or ABC because it's residential ABC or what?
Okay,
Yeah, whatever.
So based residential zone is closest to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
That
so
makes
that's yeah, and there's a number of other things. That's kind of a big structural one, but there's a number of, and it would also give you more flexibility if you wanted to target a specific industrial or business zone, for whatever reason, without like adding an overlay district or something like that, or creating a new zoning district. If you found that that wasn't suitable, it would give you more flexibility to just change the box on the table instead of creating a whole new district.
is this good time to talk about zone D? Have you,
Sorry?
our resident zone D, did you look at that as to why we even have that?
I did not, let me pull up the zoning map. I don't recall noticing
Dave, I did,
that.
that was a comment. We had a discussion about like the value of SRD given
Yeah,
AR district is 2 acres, 80,000
Right.
square feet. SRD is 60 with like not much of a difference in the frontage requirement. Right? So, yeah.
yeah.
Because the discussion would be, do you make that 40 or do you make it 80? Do you go down to and have 40, 1 acre, our biggest residential zone,
Yeah,
build a residential? Or do you make it commercial, do you make it agricultural residential and have like use,
Depends where it is.
and where it is, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
zone D
think-
is only,
something else with the district establishment that just is kind of a basic thing we look at. Every zoning rewrite looks at this, and like SRD is probably guilty of this. SRC, like this is definitely gonna, just looking at the zoning map, not even looking at the parcels, is something we always try to do during this process is look through the zoning map and try to eliminate any split parcels on the zoning map. So that's the other kind of topic when it comes to district establishment. So we certainly, through the rewrite process, could look at SRD and like whatever committee we put together to run the rewrite process could, come to a decision about how to approach that district. Because you'll probably be hopefully changing the district composition slightly to kind of fix any split parcels. And that's gonna, as on the edge cases, that's going to require some, specific decisions on specific parcels, how you want to see them zoned. So that'll give you kind of there will be that opportunity to kind of reassess the zoning map.
1 second, I wanna, because if we go from 60 to 40, nobody's gonna lose their frontage. If we go from 60 to 80, there's people that have 210 that don't have 240. So going down would cause less disturbance with.
But those are the sort of detailed things that I think we're gonna hammer out later, right? At this point, we're just getting the big picture.
Thank you. No, that this is good information to kind of keep in the back of my head until we start the process. Moving on to Article 3. So typically the use regulations are the most complicated part of the zoning rewrite process, just because it's often long. There's a lot of policy making that goes on within the use regulation table, and often, comparing that in the definitions section, you find that things are missing in the definitions section. They're on the use table and aren't defined in the definition section, or they're in the definition section and you have a defined use or term and then it's never actually regulated elsewhere in the document. And so, there are several revisions that are outlined in the annotated bylaws, a bunch of ease of use changes that should be addressed to deal with any inconsistencies or confusing formatting. There are numerous uses that are missing definitions, and something that, again, similar to how the industrial and business districts are set up, there's a lot of footnotes in the use table and then extremely lengthy footnotes where it's, it could be multiple paragraphs in a footnote. And those are things that should probably just be inserted into the use table, or in certain cases, I think, reassessed for how they're even written, just to make sure that it's kind of accomplishing what it's intended to accomplish. And then there's a few things that should be addressed through the use table, including short-term rentals, something that's come up with you guys, but how to regulate duplexes, and then multifamily and mixed-use development. And something that the town could consider would be to adopt a site plan review approach for certain developments, so that you can kind of create less administrative burden for the types of housing and commercial development that the town wants to promote, especially on the smaller scale.
Why site plan instead of special permit?
Just to reduce the complexity of the process for the applicant. But I mean, it depends, it's a case by case basis if that's something the town wants to consider.
If it's a use that's desired, right? If it's a use that you want in town, you'd want to make it by right, but making sure that it triggers a site plan review process through this board, not a special permit that lets either the zoning board or the planning board decide as to whether or not you want the use. You're deciding ahead of time, we want the use, we just want to make sure that it's designed appropriately, which is
So
why
that would be just a site plan.
Yeah. And something that's, I think, would be an interesting approach is to only have it trigger if it's below a certain size. So you could say in this district, we want commercial development, but we don't want a mall coming in with no oversight, right? But if it's just a mixed use building with a storefront, that might be a different conversation. Looking again at the dimensional regulations, I think there are areas for improvement in the overall dimensional regulations that should be looked at by the rewrite group, just to promote dense and diverse housing, to make the document more in line with the goals of the housing production plan and the affordable housing trust plan. And then also, much like the use table, there's kind of an over-reliance on footnotes, and things should kind of try to be more carefully integrated into the table where possible. There were no notable, moving on to Article 5, performance standards, talking to stakeholders, there were no notable issues in the first part of the performance standards section. I would recommend that the town establish clear and distinct definitions for light and heavy industrial. And the kind of typical way to establish that is that heavy industrial would have a negative impact on abutters through sound, light, noise, air pollution, and light industrial could be like a light manufacturing use that's kind of contained inside the building, doesn't create vibrations, that sort of thing. And that might ease a butter concerns, and it would make the regulations clearer to applicants and maybe get ahead of the performance standards needing to be kind of implemented more carefully or, more strictly. Additionally, we recommend that the town establish a parking table for the parking regulations. We want to make sure that the parking requirements are clear and easily comparable between uses and kind of based on similar standards for each type of use that you want to regulate the parking for.
You're gonna be able to,
Sorry?
you're gonna be able to get parking first?
To handle it first.
We need parking. I mean, we don't have a lot of parking
Yeah.
spaces to begin with.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better if we spend our attention trying to find more parking or find a better way to do parking than restrict it?
Yeah, I mean, typically these days, I mean, the planning world is kind of going to try to reduce the amount of parking that's required for certain developments. But, depending on the size of the development, you can have, there's a lot of flexibility in how you write the parking requirements. Mike, is the town subject to MS4 permitting at
Yes.
all? Yeah, so that's another thing that you would want to look at through the rewrite process is to make sure that the parking requirements align with MS4, which is like municipal stormwater rules. And typically those lean towards less parking. The main thing is about not creating more impervious surfaces. So another element of parking regulations that we can, and kind of the best practices in parking regulations enforce this, is looking at lot design so that you're kind of designing lots in a way that you can get like the most parking out of the least amount of land. And not, just paving over everything and kind of encouraging like gravel lots and that sort of thing. And so you could try to encourage that in certain areas of town for certain developments. So but yeah, the parking is always kind of a involved conversation. So, but yeah, I mean, we can work with the committee to kind of see how to approach that. And then looking at the sign bylaw, I think there are just some areas for improvement in the sign bylaw, but the big thing we try to look out for with sign bylaws is avoiding any First Amendment issues. This is something a lot of towns walk up towards. There has been Supreme Court cases about sign regulation. And a lot of towns these days, like a big concern, which makes a lot of sense, is people put up, potentially offensive political signs, and people come to the planning board or town administration. They want to enforce that, but there's usually not a ton of power that the town has you can't stop people from being offensive. So a lot of towns try to write their way out of that happening. But it's pretty difficult, but there are ways to kind of regulate signs so that you can kind of, there's different approaches to it but there's no notable issues with the bylaw. There's just some areas for improvement, but it's a fairly thorough sign bylaw, so I don't think it needs to be changed substantially. So moving on to Article 6, this is something that came up with the engineers we spoke to. I think Mike also brought it up, but there are several problems with the common driveways bylaw. The section, yeah. The section lacks a provision to allow the planning board to waive requirements of the section, so then any deviation would require a variance from the ZBA. So a petitioner could obtain a variance from one or all of the provisions and then apply to the planning board for a special permit and still be denied because the planning board can't waive any of the requirements. So
Well, also, if I can stop for a minute, when the planning board gets a common driveway, we look for input. And one of the inputs is the relief that came from the zoning board.
yeah,
But that's only one of the parts of the planning board's decision on adequate and safe access.
yeah,
So even if the zoning board gives a waiver, it doesn't force the planning board to accept that. We're a whole
Right.
different. One goes administrative, we go to the court system. Our
Right.
review is the file, land court. It has nothing to do with the zoning board. That's just a factor in our decision.
okay,
So I'm not so sure go ahead.
I would say, I think that we need to take a hard look at the common draft bylaw because we've spent more time on that
Yeah.
bylaw, reviewing things and sending them back than is reasonable, so.
What was my point? If we can make the bylaw clearer so that we don't
Yeah.
have to wait
Yep.
is a lot better than giving it the responsibility to someone else.
Yeah.
Zoning, for
Yeah.
instance.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
And then there are some other technical issues with the bylaw. Personal wireless service facilities should be, there's some updates that you should consider to put it in line with current Mass General Law. The planned village development bylaw, I've spoken to Mike about this, but I guess it was established to serve a specific district, but has never been implemented. So that's a use where maybe the board wants to consider eliminating the bylaw, or maybe we want to try to refine it so it's actually going to be used. The drive-through bylaw is well written and thorough, but that might be kind of, I think that's probably a topic for more discussion because it sounds like it hasn't really been implemented in town. And then looking at large scale solar, so the state is in the process of updating their requirements for solar. So by the time we'll probably be after this, but the state should have the new requirements approved in the spring. So we'll probably be well into the zoning process when we get to looking at solar, but that we would want to make sure it's updated to align with the new state requirements. And we should also consider whether to combine it with the solar overlay district instead of making that a separate
Okay, so
bylaw.
one question before we move on from 5G. Did I read that they're gonna pass a law and also a thing by the administrative that towns will have much less authority over 5G?
I haven't heard about that, but that would not. Yeah, I don't know if towns. I haven't heard about that.
I think it was today I got an email that said that there's the town had better be prepared for the changes that the federal government, both the administrative end of it and the legislative end, are going to have less local control over 5G placement.
I haven't heard about that, but I mean, through the rewrite process, I think by the time we get to the wireless stuff, we can certainly make sure that it's aligned with whatever the new state and federal requirements are. And then similarly, marijuana overlay district should be updated to address any changes to Mass General Law. There's the special regulation or special residential regulations in Article 7. There's a trigger for scheduled development in approved subdivisions. I think that's something that should be looked at. Currently it's just a 44 unit trigger, which seems like an arbitrary number, but I think Mike had a comment to the effect of kind of reevaluating whether it's necessary. Townhouses and garden apartments, I think, should be addressed to make them a little more attractive as a development option, including changes to dimensional requirements and parking requirements. Regarding the open space residential development, we might want to consider reducing the lot size threshold for open space developments so that you can allow smaller parcels to use the tools by right.
Is every suggestion you're going to give us how to be overgrown with people and you're developing a theme here where we're reducing our lot sizes, we're increasing the ability for people to put in things like you're going to get some pushback from me on trying to make the town that much population that fast. We really want to keep the growth slow and controlled.
Yeah.
All your proposals are not going to serve that end.
Okay.
Tom, you chair this part here regarding open space residential development. It doesn't say that you compromise the open space.
The last thing, we're reducing the lot size.
It does the lot size of the house, but if you have 100 acres of open space,
And you
You
make
make-
the housing on less of it.
you have more open space.
We already did that. But that's that's what an open space was. A 2 acre zone doesn't have to be 2 acres. It can
But
only
it
have
still
to be
has to be.
one.
But
Right.
the question is, can it be even
Less than one?
smaller and therefore protect more land?
If
Why
you put
not?
like garden.
You might not want that, but maybe people would want that.
This would be a good question to ask.
Yeah.
How it affects property
I mean, I'd
values.
be supporting, I mean, I support putting like garden apartments in a small place and then have much more open space.
Yeah.
So
As long, if we're not affecting property values, and we're not affecting schools, and we're not affecting police and fire, then yes, but those have to be considered
Correct.
before we just start reducing lot sizes for everybody.
But like with the open space bylaw, we're just putting the houses on less space. It's the same number of houses. It's not gonna change.
Again,
the
I
school.
thought we already did that by cutting the lot reduction in half. You don't need 2 acres, you only need 1.
Well, maybe we can cut it further.
and you still have 40 houses and 20 houses, same amount of houses, just less space.
See the benefits. All right, sorry, thanks.
We
Keep
got
going.
Yeah, so I mean, just for clarity, I mean, I was primarily looking at the housing production plan and the affordable housing trust action plan. But I was trying to look at kind of prior planning documents that have been adopted by the town to things that the town, I mean, these are just recommendations. So once we get into the rewrite
Looking like
process,
this. All right, I don't want you to recommend us looking like Northbridge or Grafton or Westbrook.
Yeah.
Just to just emphasize what Gabe just said,
Be quiet, thank you.
he was, his comments are based off of existing documents that the town has approved. It's not just Gabe's ideas.
yeah,
Might
and
be
that's why there's a rewrite committee and like a 1.5-year process, because I don't want to write the bylaws by myself, because you guys know way more about Upton than I do, so.
All right, thank you.
Recommendations for senior housing communities, potential changes for the large lot reduction option, proposed changes to the accessory dwelling unit bylaw, which we can get to after I go through the memo, which I think those are in a very good place. That I think that doesn't necessarily need to be covered by the rewrite. We have a pretty good document in place. And then something that the town could consider is implementing density bonuses to encourage affordable housing in certain circumstances. Going to special district regulations, the floodplain district should be compared to the updated state model floodplain bylaw, and any updates to the firm panels. The town may want to consider defining smaller or less intensive structures that can be allowed with lower cost mitigation techniques rather than a full engineering plan. And then any references to DHCD in the MBTA communities bylaw should be updated to EOHLC, because that's the successor agency. Moving on to administration and procedures, something that I think came up in the first time I met with you was adding some language that would disallow the ZBA from issuing use variances. That's been cited as a problem with the bylaw as it stands. For site plan review, we can look at whether or not we need to require 10 paper copies, and if the town wants to move to electronic plans. And if the town is using a lot of towns, they kind of ignore what the bylaws say about plan applications, and if the town is ignoring it, it should just be changed to whatever the town thinks works best right now. There's a contradictory rule in site plan review that should be addressed, where 2 statements negate each other. We don't need to get into that. And then moving on to definitions, there's a bunch of uses missing definitions that should be included in the definitions section. To me, especially, there's a ton of things that are in the use table notes that are defined as being allowed or disallowed, and I think it just speaks to kind of maybe some overregulation of certain uses, or just kind of, we just wrote a big list of uses and we want to make sure these are all allowed, but then you don't say what they are, and that can make things confusing for an applicant. If those uses even came to bear through an application, because some of them are kind of unusual uses. And then something we would like to recommend is moving definitions to the definition section where feasible. So if there's definitions in other parts of the document, putting them all in one section, and you can even have subsections of the definition section if that's desired. And in general, I think the definition should just be downstream from the other bylaws. So we kind of try to the definition section is kind of present throughout the rewrite process, and we try to tweak it as we move through the whole document so that any changes, you're not just going to fix the definition section and then move on. You kind of want to make sure everything else is in line before you start adding or deleting uses, so that you know what you need to add and delete. And yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
uses that are referenced. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that should be kind of moved in between the use table and the definition section. So yeah, that's kind of the whole memo. I appreciate you all letting me talk through it. So
Any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Any questions
Yeah.
for us?
no, I think I mean, if the board wants to adopt the memo so that, because I have to get this done by the end of the month, and put together my own memo to close out the project, unless there's any major edits you want to see happen, that would be in line. And then also we should discuss kind of putting together the committee for the rewrite project, which I think we're in a position to start, after the holidays. So those are kind of the two main things about coming out of the zoning diagnostic.
So what you're looking for is a acceptance of the diagnostic, not an acceptance or an agreement with certain things that are in the diagnostic, correct?
Yeah,
Through the chair.
So what would we be doing? We would be accepting this just as being received, or we're not agreeing to everything in here, right?
no,
We wouldn't be voting to say that,
No.
you're not, you
We-
don't need to endorse the memo, but just to agree that the project is concluded and we're ready to move on to the rewrite process. Because
That's fine.
everything in here is just a recommendation, and the
I
rewrite
mean-
committee will have the ultimate oversight on how this is implemented.
your motion,
I move that we accept the diagnostic and
summary memo.
diagnostic summary memo and move on to the rewrite process.
There's a second.
So moved. Second.
All right, discussion. Is there anything in here that we are not recommending?
We're not recommending anything. We're just accepting the memo.
That we shouldn't accept the memo because
I didn't see anything.
there's something in here that's wrong, so that we shouldn't accept it. I don't have.
I mean, there are a couple things, that's why I asked the question, that I would not support being in the final, but that's for the people who are writing it to determine. No, we don't have.
Yeah.
So,
Our point here is not to debate all of these points.
Yeah.
Tree.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right, it's been approved, or it's been accepted.
All right.
Put it that way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then, Mike, you also had me on the agenda to talk about the ADU bylaw.
Yeah, Gabe, do you just want to, through the chair, do you want to give us some, just quick highlights on what needs to change on the ADU bylaw? If you remember, we adopted the ADU bylaw right as the state was, because we were already pushing forward with our own thing.
Well, there's one change, right? We wanted 1,000 minimum, they have 850. Is that the only difference so far that I know?
It was 900, but Gabe, can you just comment on the things that we should probably change in it?
Yeah, so I sent the document to Mike last week, so you should have it. One thing is, we got rid of the original accessory dwelling unit definition, and added definitions for an accessory dwelling unit, and then additionally a local ADU, which is an ADU that exceeds the so the state has these requirements. You have to have up to 900 square feet or half the area, whatever the specific dimensional requirements were. That's what we would call a protected use ADU because it's protected by state law. And then there's the option for a local ADU, which is what the town wants that goes above what the state is requiring. So the state, it says 900 square feet or half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling, whichever is smaller. And then a local ADU would be going above that. So those are kind of the three definitions, a new ADU definition that aligns with the state model bylaw, and then the local and protected use ADUs. And you could also call the local ADU a non-protected ADU. It's up to preference. Then we kind of added that the CNI and GB districts have to allow ADUs. That's because basically any district that allows single families housing has to allow ADUs. Changing the ref.
But it's an accessory dwelling, so there would have to be a dwelling on that, whether it's GB or
Yes.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's already being used as a residential, regardless of the zone.
I think you're
Right.
advocating.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So for example, some towns, their industrial districts, they don't allow single family housing. So that would be an exception. But that's not the case here. Or there's no existing. So kind of changing all the references to those two, adding those two districts and changing all the references to local and protected use ADUs. We added parking requirements just to align with the state law, which is that up to one off-street parking space shall be required for accessory dwelling units located outside a half-mile radius of a subway station, commuter rail station, ferry terminal, or bus station. No off-street parking is required for a protected use ADU within a half-mile radius of a subway station, commuter rail station, ferry terminal, or bus station. All those ferry terminals in Upton.
This doesn't pertain to us.
Yeah, we're within the,
No, we're
It's just-
not within a mile of a ferry terminal of, you have to be within a certain distance of
Yeah.
all these things.
Yeah.
And we're not.
the first thing you said we were.
What?
What was the first requirement? Within a certain distance?
Up to one additional off-street parking space shall be required for accessory dwelling units located outside of a half-mile radius of these things.
So, yeah, so we have to have one
Yeah.
parking space.
Yeah.
You don't need a parking space. We don't need, yeah, that's fine.
It has to be off.
And we don't even need the rest of that language.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing that is within a half mile of a ferry terminal or train station in Upton that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
I would recommend just keeping it in the bylaws, because if something were to change, you don't want to. It would be you know, if there was a train line that went into Upton in 30 years and then they're not, you know, there's some zoning violation that goes up to, you know, Mass General, you know, Mass
Yeah.
Supreme Court or something, that would not be good. So it's redundant for now, but you want to avoid a issue in the future.
I mean, my preference, because I think we've already had town meeting vote on this twice. And I think to keep people from laughing at us, I mean, I would prefer to leave that language out. It'll make people not take us, I mean, the motion seriously. People are sick of it already. Another question I was gonna ask you is the state seems to be refining this as it goes along. Do you expect any further refinements in the next 12 months? Because if so, I just as soon hold off, because I'm tired of bringing this stuff at one meeting and now talking about ferry terminals. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just, I strongly support it.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, can we just wrap this into the overall zoning bylaw revision? And then it's not, we're coming back with the ADU again, we're coming back to bring all of this zoning.
Because we couldn't do that last, when we were making one small tweak and we had to go for a town meeting.
Yes, you can recommend the same.
But, I mean, and yes, you can, yes, exactly, because it's a zoning bylaw change. So, and
So we
the
just
rest
wrap
of
it
the
all
thing is
together,
zoning
so
bylaw
it's-
change.
We have a public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I don't care if it doesn't go, but I do not want to bring that language down meeting.
I agree.
Okay.
All right, what else you got, Gabe? We gotta move on.
Yeah, then we just establish, it's just changes to various references throughout. That's basically the rest of the document. And adding just some stuff to the grandfathering subsection. So it's pretty basic. It's just kind of refining the bylaw that was already passed further, just to bring it totally in line with the state requirements. But the bylaw was already in a pretty good place. It's just kind of little bits here and there.
But there's a lot of good stuff in there with the, that you suggested, that we should be working on. I do like the ADU. Getting the common driveways and things like that fixed is good. The large lot reduced frontage, we could spend a lot of time on that. I don't want to. It bothers me. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a really good start.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank
Bye.
you.
2025 annual report.
Lauren put this together for us.
Looks very complete.
Due January 12th, not December 12th, as I thought this morning.
Which raised the blood pressure a bit.
Yeah.
One thing, so I just took all this from the 2024 report and changed it, obviously. We can add in the new associate member position. Then just want to see if we're missing any like major decisions or projects. So I have May 2025, town vote to accept Clapham Farm Road. And then special town meeting, zoning amendment. So did anything else happen with 169 South Street, which is Sawmill Brook Lane? Anything to add in the report, like accepting any road?
No, because what's next is the solar farm, and that's not started yet.
Just a question, didn't he do something, on, behind the Cardigan Hand Factory? Millhouse, the guy came,
Was
wanted, wanted,
Zoning board did that Centennial Court.
yeah,
That
Yeah,
was,
he came and talked to us, but it was zoning, so.
I
we said,
think that was light manufacturing variance to perform light manufacturing.
no, it was a housing,
The townhouse.
Mhm.
Yeah,
On Russ.
Centennial Court, Russell Ave.
Yeah,
Was it 5 units? Yeah, it was 5 units.
That's when they had no anything, no, the road wasn't even there, it was,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the road didn't officially exist.
so they still have to come back for site.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
They haven't done that yet.
Did we,
that's gonna be straight.
also, did we, I can't remember, did we make it, we have to make a decision sometime about, no, about scrutiny site work funds in connection with their driveway?
oh, they're parking down below.
I mean,
Was that this year or was that the year before? Parking lot, yeah,
they put it in this year, right?
okay. She definitely
Yeah.
came in, but I thought that might have been last year.
That might have been last year. I'll double check. I have all of
All
your
the names.
applications in an Excel file somewhere. So Warren, I'll go through it and see if we're missing any applications.
I was just like their meeting minutes.
And the other, just question I had, in Governor's Landing, the second mention Governor's Landing. It says the town is active in negotiations with the developer regarding the extension of sewer and water for the site. And if bid went out to construction, I mean, construction started
It was.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and it's almost done, correct?
correct.
The three that go to,
Mention here.
the application for a 3-lot subdivision, I believe
Oh.
that was a,
Oh, yeah,
No, the next,
but that was a dummy,
Oh, that
that's
was,
a dummy
yeah, no.
subdivision.
Place.
this, yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
next reference to it is.
Here?
No.
Yeah, yes,
yeah.
yeah, and we're no longer in active negotiations.
Yeah.
So basically, construction has started on the extension.
And they're thinking that because the 3-lot subdivision was more administrative, we can leave that
We
out.
can leave it out because people are gonna be like, what's that?
Yeah, and actually 87 Adams Street is gonna confuse people.
and the reason we should take it out is because this is two approved, there's 2 approved plans for the same parcel.
Take this out.
So I take out the
Yep.
3-lot subdivision because it's, does that make sense? Yeah, I don't want to conflict.
No, I agree.
And did anything with the MBTA community has an issue with that? I thought that.
Yeah, it's the
We added-
reference to 87A. It is confusing because there is no 87A Adams Street.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
As we well know. Through the chair, your question about MBTA communities, the
Yeah.
only thing that happened was you approved the zoning,
Okay,
but nothing else has happened.
okay.
And that's up above then on the zoning.
Yeah, it's not a planning issue, okay.
It's not mentioned
I
anywhere.
thought the planning board was the one that had to go before town meeting
Yeah,
and recommend the.
so in the regular, in the general town meeting, the spring town meeting, annual town meeting, that should be there somehow.
Yeah.
I also have some minor suggestions, which I'll just. unrelated to content or text.
Okay. And then these goals haven't really been edited at all. Pretty generic.
Yep.
You want to put master plan in there for goals? Says continued implementation of items. It says on, you come, I was they put at the top, we got continued implementation of items.
And then, yeah,
And basically, it's,
evaluate, or perhaps instead of continue implementation, evaluate implementation of items from the 2005 master plan and update for a new.
instead of
Draft-
items,
and
you
draft
put down
new.
components or elements, each one of them.
Yeah, something like that. You got it.
Yeah.
Good. Like I say, every month, we're on a schedule once a month, and we can knock off half of these things, these elements before May.
Didn't that one town meeting, we also approved the adoption of this big solar array, or was that?
Oh, the South Street.
No,
this-
no, I meant, when we went before planning board to, we went before town meeting to adopt,
Well, we did the spot
the
zone
rezoning. We did spot zoning for solar, but then the state came in and we proposed that all residential area had to be
Right,
Was
that,
that
and that
zoning?
failed, that was,
zone packed. It had to pass because the state mandated it.
I don't,
no, remember it failed anyway, where there was the proposal to allow it basically townwide.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
And
thought it
then,
passed.
no, it failed, because that was the first zoning thing that I did when I got here, so that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about one, because the state just did the regulation for, the first one we did,
Mhm.
it was when the lawyers were
Mhm.
like saying, eventually you're gonna get sued.
Yeah,
And that was the first one we did.
Yeah.
It was the second one where the state basically said that you have to allow solar
mhm,
anywhere.
yeah,
And Margaret took basically said, well, okay, we can do, if we adopt this, then that's a good, we can actually control it a little bit because we can set setbacks and all that type of stuff. And I think that was this year, because I think you made the motion. I think it was the spring town meeting this year.
I don't even remember. You could just look at town meeting minutes.
But it basically is in all residential areas.
so I remember getting turned down, but all houses can still put up solar on their roofs, there's no.
That's, yeah, but that's,
Stop
yeah,
that.
no,
But you
this was-
can't just put up a small, you can't put up a solar array farm unless goes through.
correct.
no, there was something the state
wasn't-
did.
It wasn't, it,
That mandate, it was in the climate law that
Yeah.
got passed.
Oh, yeah, but we haven't done anything on that yet.
I thought we passed it. town
No,
meeting.
oh geez, I forget his name, somebody from the state, and I'm forgetting what office, environmental and energy, the Department of Energy, probably, energy and efficiency, is that the one? But anyway, he came by and was telling me of these impending changes.
Right.
That they are working on now, but they haven't passed those regulations.
I think
yet.
that was 2 years ago when it failed.
Yeah, that was the one,
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
but that was a different one.
Because I know I'd sent out, I think, info about that on like a presentation or
Mhm.
something that they did
Yeah.
for everybody, just to let you know what was going on, but we haven't changed anything as a result of that yet, because they're talking about like changing, not changing or dictating how we approach battery storage and things like that.
Mhm.
I saw that when he was,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
so we haven't done anything with that yet.
Thanks.
All right, so let's go on to reaffirm vote to release lots at Sawmill Lane.
So you already voted on this a few months ago, or whatever it was, in your. Yeah, in July, you voted on that. There was a the date in the letter was incorrect, so that we signed, you signed for that. So that was an issue. So they were trying to get that recorded. That's the,
Do you have your?
this is the original. That's the original. And then I have the one that you just signed for tonight.
So it's all set.
So, but you still need to vote on it
Yep.
if you would.
So
Is there a motion to that the planning board voted to release all 4 lots, number 1 through 4 at Sawmill Lane?
so moved.
Second, discussion. All those in favor?
I,
So you already have the surety bond in place and all that sort of stuff.
Thank you, fine. Winter, spring and meeting dates, winter and spring meeting dates, 2026. You pass that out already.
Yeah, I think there's in there.
At the last page.
Any questions or issues?
So for reelection this year.
Me,
Can I campaign with?
so you could bring that to run again. See, Margaret, this is why I'm not responding to the bug, up in bunkers. You're not up for reelection.
I have nothing that was not anticipated. Any questions or comments from the board? Have you enjoyed yourself?
That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Meeting
Thank you.
adjourned at